Wilson is up first.
We should probably have introductions. Just
Yeah,
for the record,
I guess
so we should repeat it.
Yeah. Go around the room for introduction. We'll start with here.
Bill Josh Longley.
Chris Morstead, Kelso.
Dave Campbell, City of Long Beach.
Jim Sedilor, HR.
Claire Hauge, Finance.
I'm Jeff Wilson, a citizen.
Tim Southanen, Longview.
Arn Mortensen, Cowlitz County.
Joe Gardner, Cowlitz County.
As well, Cowlitz County.
Okay.
Yes, good morning. Outside of a public records request, I wanted to know if these meetings or the minutes are, the request procedure for the minutes of the commissioner's workshop meeting. So I filed a request for those.
All the minutes from the workshops are on the internet.
The minutes are?
Yes.
Couldn't find them. I looked under archives. It was blank this morning for both the regular, and that was just as of 9:20 this morning when I looked last. They're not on the website for some reason. We'll worry about that later. You show it to me later. So in doing so, I wanted to have
Do you have anything written out for us?
No. And was I supposed to?
It's always helpful.
Is there a printed agenda I can read? Thank you very much, Claire.
How much time do we have for this? I know we've got other items on the
Yeah.
agenda, including a pretty important executive session, so.
Did you mention the amount of time when the meeting was set up?
No.
Yeah.
There was no talk of time, but really what I'm looking for is future open meetings that you three will consider to afford if programs like the Syringe Exchange Program or some of your social programs, mainly the needle exchange or the syringe exchange, it would be open to a public discussion unless it's mandated. So I can't find where it's mandated that we're forced. So at the 40,000 foot elevation, Cowlitz County should have the ability to choose or have the chance for pro-choice what kind of problems it can or can't have as it relates to the syringe exchange. And so really to trying to sift through is what's mandated and what is not. And I'm asking that the non-mandated or even the mandated be conduced publicly so that citizens have a chance to weigh in on their likes and dislikes, have a say in programs. My syringe exchange personal experience did not yield the results I was looking for. I was looking for more of a controlled process. I was looking for more accountability and transparency on the program. And I'm to the point now where I have a clear opinion that it's neither of those. And so, but that's just my opinion. And so I'm asking you three, at what point can we get in front of the public and ask what their choice is? What Cowlitz County citizens desire or not desire? You three are elected and you represent us. However, some of these programs like the Syringe Exchange that started inception in 1998 that have continued on, I can't find really much opportunity where the public gets to weigh in, whether it's mandated or not. So that's pretty much it. I'm asking the commissioners to consider whether it takes a hearing, whether it takes public outreach, but I really think that people need to be heard. Besides it being a passionate topic, it's also an educated topic, and I understand that you can't just simply on a lay version expect everybody to understand things as we speak about harm reduction, we speak about potential complicated treatment and social services for our most vulnerable, and I get that. But it's to the point where there's the appearance that there's a lack of opportunity to provide input. And I'm not going to go down on the Tuesday thing. It still is difficult for citizens, and I do this at the port. It's difficult for people to come in on a Tuesday. So, but this issue that we're going to speak about or asking to open up about, you'll find it on the front page of almost every paper. You'll find it on social media. You'll find it as a hot topic not to go away. So I'm asking that we get a say in it, unless it's told that we have no say, and then cite the reason for why we would have no say, the mandate.
Yeah, I don't know why there's any reason why there's could not be public input, and I think probably we all have received some input through various methods, whether it's in person or phone call or email. And we've asked for an in-depth report out from the health department at the next Board of Health meeting, which is the end of this month. They're always at the fourth Tuesday of the month. So that is also upcoming, which is of course, a public meeting opportunity for comment and input at that time.
Sure, but there needs to be that time, and that's what I'm asking for. I think that there's a number of citizens that I feel now is by far the majority that desires to have such a process allowed, and an option where people can say, I want or don't want, we need or don't need. And I know that that's difficult, and that you were elected to make decisions and conduct the business on our behalf. But this issue is so big, the cause and effect on the county's action has truly made its mark on our community. The drug pollution is here. The drug pollution and the generating of the drug pollution, I think in fairness to our community, we need to have an adult talk, not telling us, why don't we ask and why don't we work through and go by the choice of the citizens instead of a direction that has been chosen, if not mandated. I can't be more repetitious than that. And that's about it. That's all I needed today out of that. We all know, and excuse me, and if anybody doesn't know this, I'll take the challenge publicly. If anybody thinks the 2016 opioid report is anything other than, it's just not a productive report. It's itself admitted to be not accurate. It deals with public health and safety, and yet we need some accurate information. We need some, and the process has to be transparent. And I'm going to challenge that most likely it definitely needs to be improved. And I'll ask that you would consider not a 9 o'clock meeting. I'll still jump up and down and say a lot of citizens are simply just unable to get there at a Tuesday. I would ask that this be opened up to the entire community and done at a time that's most accountable and affordable to those people. I've already been to the City of Longview Council last week. City Manager Dave Campbell is here. And I will be going to City of Kelso's council meeting as well too, and most likely the City of Castle Rock. I don't know at what point, what the level of commissioners are involving the city managers and whatnot, so they're informed. I don't know if you have to, but communication, proper and free-flowing communication will certainly tear away myths, rumors, and innuendos and get us to the facts. And I'm done. Thank you.
I don't know, is the Board of Health meeting, is that something that, I know the date's set, but the time, I mean, I don't know if that's probably something you can change from the morning to the evening.
That's usually set at 10 o'clock.
Can I make a comment? Or a question?
Sure.
The last meeting that we were at with the Board of Health, we were able to ask a couple of questions. However, we weren't able to get, a lot of our questions answered, as it was said that it wasn't the appropriate time for that. So this is now I think our third time coming in here, where we are again scheduling, another meeting. I would like the next Board of Health meeting to be a time and place that we can have an open and collaborative discussion with not only the commissioners, but also the health department. That way we can hopefully get some of these issues and questions answered and resolved. I think that is only fair to the citizens.
I'm thinking probably not along those lines exactly. It seems like the Board of Health meetings should be tackling some focus things and policy issues. I would suggest we do it Tuesday night.
Separate from the Board of Health?
Separate from the Board of Health, where policy issues can be discussed.
That'd be great.
I have a sense that there are enough issues that we could schedule the next umpteen Tuesdays in an automatic fashion. I like getting up early and working all the way through the day. That should be fun on Tuesday.
So the Board of Health meeting, it sounds like you're suggesting the Board of Health meeting stays the same, and we would use that opportunity for them to provide more of a report out on what we've asked about, which is the Syringe Exchange Program.
Yeah, I would picture on a Tuesday evening we would have a discussion of some kind, and something arising from that would be taken up at the Board of Health meeting. Once a month is probably not enough for the Tuesday meetings, I'm saying, but at that time, when that issue appears at the Board of Health, people will have had a chance to think through it a bit more. It can be couched in a focused manner. And at that point in time, policy, the commissioners will have had an opportunity typically to deal with more of the policy issues, and the citizens will be able to keep the door open to almost anything. At the Board of Health meeting, a little more structure, a little more focus. It may take many Board of Health meetings to tackle only one thing. These are complex. Anyhow, that's sort of the picture I have. What's your thinking, Dennis?
Of course, I'm not opposed to the evening meetings. We've discovered that it's hard to get everybody at the evening meetings, on a pretty consistent basis. So other than the fact that, we try to do that with the comp plan, and that's kind of mid to late for, obvious reasons. So just kind of keep in mind that that can be a difficult thing to sustain, but not opposed to that.
Yeah, I think the comp plan exercise was pretty successful. Once the citizens felt that they were being heard and they could see some material changes, then they said, okay, it's on the right track, and no more hot issues. I think we can assume this is a hot issue. And so I'm concerned whether we will have enough space in the hearing room. But when nobody shows up, that's when you know you've solved the problems.
Well, not necessarily, because we don't have that many people show up at our Tuesday meetings. We've got a lot of problems that we work on all the time.
The Tuesday in the morning meeting again? Yeah, I'm talking about the evening meetings.
So the idea would be a meeting prior to the 30th on the Board of Health meeting. In the evening.
Yeah, in fact, next Tuesday is the 6th. We don't have an evening meeting then, do we? Something, we
Yes.
do, don't we?
I'm not available.
Oh, that's the land.
Yeah, we scheduled, and then the following week is the comp plan, the 13th.
I actually would prefer if we have a meeting that it follows the Board of Health meeting, because we've asked them to do some very specific things and make recommendations. So it would be a little bit premature to have a public meeting without the staff, reporting to us. Then use that as the spring board. Okay, here's, here are the recommendations, here are the changes, what should be, does that answer the questions? Do we need more information? And so on. But I would see the purpose of meeting before then.
The question then is, how does the Board of Health know what questions are being asked of the public?
We've already asked them to review with us this Syringe Exchange Program and to present to us the data that is making a difference and whatever recommendations that they will be making for some changes, which I think that.
Do you picture the meeting being held here at night?
Well, I would imagine a meeting being held at night.
Okay, yeah.
If we want, it really kind of
Yeah,
depends on
that's
what
why I
the
asked.
information is
Or then just
presented.
to change the time for that specific meeting. And I'm okay with that. And then from there, we can continue to have follow-up evening meetings as either way, we're gonna get the review from the program. And if we want a follow-up and have the need for a follow-up meeting, and continue that as well in the evening, continue it on. For public feedback and input. That has been suggested. Okay. That's the plan. So we'll have an evening meeting for the Board of Health meeting. We can change that, reschedule. It'll be the same day, but just do notification. ahead of time. Okay. Sounds good. Claire, yeah.
I have received a proposal from John Lindsay for the next phase of our strategic and operations plan. A couple copies short.
And there's Sherry.
Before I submitted a contract to him, I wanted to make sure that the board was in agreement with the proposals that he's making. So just by way of background, in phase one of this project was in 2014 and 15, where the county had John Luthi come on site and help us develop a strategic plan. And there were lots of meetings and trainings that he did. Phase two was last year, where we did the operations plans. He came in and did some training and has reviewed a number of those plans. We have plans from everyone except the prosecuting attorney, so I think we have what we can get. John has reviewed most of them, I believe, and he has helped with the county's strategic plan summary as well. As I read through this, and as I've been working with the steering committee, as I understand it, the goals for 2017 are to complete the operations plan, more fully round out our performance measures and our metrics, because it was optional last year to develop those, and we all took a stab at that, but he's going to come in this year and help us develop that. Do a better job of tying the operations and strategic plan to the budget, and review the strategic plan to see if we need to make any adjustments. It's been 2 years. And then a new thing is to develop the employee evaluation and development system, working with the HR department. So I went through his proposal. He is asking for $36,225 for these things. I had to pull out the deliverables. He didn't specifically identify them. He identified topics, a lot of training and facilitation. So I think what he's telling us is that he'll provide a style guide, some on-site training, some protocols, and the employee development program. In speaking with Commissioner Gardner yesterday, he asked for some input on some of these, and if there was something that we could do to get the cost down a bit. So I went through Dr. Luthi's material here, and the material that's in blue are my comments. So just working through those very briefly, if I have time. The first thing he wanted to do was to complete the operations plan. I think we have pretty much what we're going to get. So he's already reviewed a lot of those, and I'm not sure if departments are still needing assistance, but before we authorize him to do any work, I think we should ask the departments if they still need his assistance. The second thing was he wanted to provide a formalized style guide. We've had those, that guideline was submitted last fall, and the steering committee has suggested that the county develop an editing team to work on the materials when they're ready this summer. So we need the content before we have to worry about format. So I'm not sure we need any more input on that right now. Maybe others feel differently. I think number 3 is something very important that we want to focus on this year, and that is to provide the training for the performance measures and metrics. And he's going to provide the training for that. That was the plan all along. So I think number 3 is very important, and I think it's the next step. Number 4, I think it's associated very closely with the one above. That's to develop subject matter experts for the performance measures so we can carry this program on after Dr. Luthi's work is done. So the 2, 3, and 4 are tied together. There's also a suggestion of tying the strategic plan and operations plan to the budget. He wants to help develop some protocols, policy framework, and timelines. I'm not sure if he means by this the Cowlitz Quality Initiative, which he presented last fall, but it might be something that we could put off until the end of the year, or even make this part of phase 4. We're doing a pretty good job right now of tying the operations plan to the budget with MCAs and those kinds of things that we're doing. So we have a process in place that we've started. Maybe we can more fully develop this towards the end of the year. And the same thing with number 6 on the annual reporting. It might be part of phase 4 because we have to have a full year of work under the operations plan with the metrics collected before we could actually report out. So that report would most likely be due next year. I think number 7 is important, and I think it probably should be the first thing to have Dr. Lethe come and talk with the board about the board's vision for this project. So I would have put that as number 1. And then involve training. So I think number 7 is important. Number 8, again, just putting the operations and strategic plan together. So that ties to number 1. I think we're already pretty much there. Number 9 is identifying trends and opportunities for a modern, efficient framework for county government. I think that discussion has been started this year. That might be a phase 4 or 5. Not really sure what Dr. Lethe had in mind there. And number 10, I think, is also important. So collaborate with the HR department on the employee development program. So number 3, number 7, and number 10, I think for me rise to the top of where I believe we are right now with the county plans. Sorry, I went through that very quickly, but I didn't want to send Dr. Lethe a contract yet until we had a conversation and determine what the board wanted him to actually focus on.
And HR has had a conversation with about the employee performance reviews.
Correct. So I did have an opportunity to visit with John on Tuesday at his office, and we talked about this, and that's accurately reflects a lot of things. One of the key things is meeting with us, because he hasn't had a chance to meet with us as a new board, and he will, and he does want a couple of days to finish work with the departments on the road. He says we're very close to being done with that, and that is what he's ready to do. And then the training, probably 2 to half-hour sessions, say Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, and Friday morning, then wrap up. He's ready to come that next week and start doing that, working with the departments. And then 2 weeks later, he'll come back for another week. That's when he wants to finish up with the subcommittee, the ongoing committee, the performance review, the folks that will be working with Elaine to flesh that out, and also Jim's project. So kind of a 2-week timeline for him to work on that.
So 3, 7, and 10, and then the idea would be removed for the other items.
Or to maybe authorize those later.
Yeah, maybe those could be, we could address those later.
Yeah.
If we would like.
Once we get a chance to sit down and chat with him, find out how all
I
fits
think
in.
so. Some of this we've already done. I think it's kind of a restatement of what we did last year. He's just kind of following up, so we don't know how much assistance and time would be involved. But yeah, 3, 7, and 10, I think, would be the focus for 2017. I know you haven't had a chance to read this in depth yet. It came in just before the holiday, and I didn't have a workshop this week with you, so I'm here today.
I'd agree with your assessment of priority 1, which is the annual performance review, setting something up, getting that something finalized there, because that's as been pointed out to us in the past, that's something the county is lacking, is annual performance reviews.
Scheduling something next week might be short notice.
Yeah.
I don't know how much assistance folks are still wanting. I went through the inventory that the steering committee's been working with, and they have either completed or pretty well drafted documents already. Maybe not in John Luthie's style, but we're close.
I'm not sure how to approach this. I can go to the bottom line. I'm not interested in this. And I'm not sure how long it will take me to either have my mind changed and run through the detailed justification. These are problems, organizational problems, about which you can go to any B-school website and get as much information as you would like. I don't know Dr. John Luthie, maybe he has a magic wand somehow, and so I've seen committee after committee after committee after more committees and committees on committees and procedures, analyses, and from the outside I never can tell whether that happened or not, but I can see the bank account is shrunk. So if I'm not convinced on this, I can't support it. I think we should be more responsible ourselves. Annual reviews and guidelines, that should be HR's responsibility. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to depend on HR to come up with stuff. He knows he's got a complex situation, because how's he going to do a review of an elected official? How's he going to do a review with the labor union on his back? How's he going to convince the managers to actually put down something useful in a review? In industry, one of the biggest problems is nobody wants to do an honest review. You ought to be able to look at a review and decide what pay increase the individual got on a percentage, and you often can't. And if I don't see that changing any here, so you just have to take your best crack at it. And other stuff, I would ask you, tell me what material changes occurred between 2013, when first phase began, and now. Did we satisfy an RCW? Do we see an increased monetary advantage in the county? How did this, do we feel happier, but there's no performance output? I don't know any of these things.
I'm not sure where to start on that. We started from the top down. I think that we did it in reverse order. We should have done the operations plans that fed into the strategic plan, but the decision was made to go the other way. The strategic plan has been reviewed throughout the last 2 years. We haven't put measures to that. That's what we tried to do last year with the operations overviews. The performance measures, people took a stab at that without any formal training. Some people have had training in other areas, but not from Dr. Luthie. So we were trying last year through the budget process to tie that to the budget by looking at, well, what did you accomplish? But we didn't have enough time to get that actual report developed. Yeah. So we're doing this in fits and starts along with everyone else's daily work. We do not have a report yet because we didn't have the performance measures fully developed for many of the departments. Hopefully that will be occurring this year. Whether we do it on our own or whether we have Dr. Luthie come back, that's why I'm here talking to the board.
And I had asked Dr. Luthie to contact ARN before this was ever presented, and that didn't and hasn't happened. So I would still, that'd be my preference to have that happen.
So maybe one thing we could do is have him come and talk with the board next week. I think he's planning to be here next week, right? Monday? So.
Yeah, sure, what time?
Do you know what time?
We haven't, he'd like to meet with us at 3 to 5. Because he knows we've got staff meetings and stuff, so we'll do it in the morning.
So I could call him and tell him to be prepared to discuss and, bring everyone up to speed on where we've been, where we started, where we are.
I think he sent me either a voicemail or an email, And I did try to call back, but we haven't closed the loop. It sounded like he wanted to speak to me one-on-one, and I think that is a good idea.
Okay.
And so if that evening needs to be in the evening, I have no problem with that.
Could you be available at lunchtime if he's here? Monday?
Yeah, I'm assuming we could meet here at lunchtime or stuff like that.
So, if that works for you, that would be my preference.
Yeah.
Have the opportunity to answer your questions.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Cool.
So I'll just leave this with you, and then maybe I'll bring this up again on my workshop on Monday.
Okay.
And give you some time to review this in more detail than I gave you this morning.
In this United Way,
We had just an invitation. And I didn't know I don't know if you got the invitation. We've usually had a presence with United Way. And just wanted to bring it up, see if we're still interested in participating or not.
is that something that's
Talk about.
been done? I don't know. I haven't been to it before. So it's not a group.
Breakfast might be new this year, I don't know if anybody has had any other contact with them.
What's the question? Is that
If we're interested in participating, go.
the we meaning the three of us? or-
Commissioners, yeah.
That's an individual kind of decision, isn't it?
Well, it's interesting because we've also, we've participated with United Way activities. And it's a decision that we'll all pay, but I think in September, usually there's a day of carrying activity with United Way.
Yeah. It's
Again,
been
kind of a
individual.
voluntary thing
Yeah.
to donate time to various affiliated agencies.
Yeah, I can look at the date. Can't tell you right now. I'll look at it. Mayor, welcome.
Thank you. Got here a little late.
Oh,
So our last item is an executive session item.